Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to episode 297, B of Tales with TR. Remember, if you're going to gamble responsibly and always mull it over like BetMGM say. And of course, Jackson Events, jacksonevents.com, coming to a town near you real soon. Check it out, jacksonevents.com. Okay, here we go. My next guest played pro hockey all over the world, with stops in places like Edinburgh, Scotland, Toledo, Ohio, Long Beach, California, and Fassa, Italy. This, of course, came after a splendid OHL career, which included winning a Memorial Cup in 2002 with the Erie Otters, playing alongside friend of the show, Carlo Coliacovo. These days, he wears many hats, including playing greaseball Italian, Canadian, shit-disturbing, trash-talking Sly Silvestri in the hit TV show Shoresy. It's available on Crave here in Canada and Hulu in the United States, of course. He is a trash talker, a Nick Knocker, a slippery sniper, a Von Viper, a cool cat with a cool tat. His name isn't John, and he played Bantam and Vaughn. He had room to grow, and then he made it to the O. His legend grew, and they won in 02. He had nice flow and played 7 years pro. Oh, my, now he plays slide. Folks, night bananas, I like him to be yellow. Please welcome to the podcast, my friend, Brad Bonello. Bradley, how you doing?
Quite an intro by the captain of our ship right there, the no-show, no-stars, Ted Hitchcock, Terry Ryan.
How you doing, my man?
Good, yourself?
I'm busy. I'm all over the place. I tell you, I guess we all are in our own ways. I come back here, the Shoresy Classic, still, I mean, it's great to bring that up. I think everybody out there listening to this knows what we're talking about now. The last time I saw Bones would have been in Vancouver at the last leg of our Shoresy Classic. How'd you make it? That was a big night.
You know what? It was. Hey, listen, the whole trip was tremendous. Tremendous. It's such a unbelievable experience and bonding between the boys. Like, again, we're all past our prime here and moving on with our real lives, and to be able to kind of just feel part of that team, that the travel on the road, going to dinner with the guys, having a few beers, telling some stories, having some jokes, ribbing some guys. You know what? It just rejuvenates you.
Yeah, it does rejuvenate you, And when I left hockey. It wasn't really voluntarily, I suppose. I kept playing senior hockey, so I'm still attached. I just mean my professional hockey career, when I realized, okay, I'm not going to play professional hockey anymore. That was the big thing I remember, like, being anxious about, or anxious is the wrong word, being a little bit, getting anxiety and being a bit depressed about, in that camaraderie and the traveling to the cities and everything getting paid for. That's a big thing to me. I love traveling. I'm like, holy shit, like each year, like the salary was one thing, but there's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of travel in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to be available anymore. And now we get to do it while playing against some fucking legends and in NHL buildings.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I remember, it sticks in my mind. Just the whole trip was fantastic, but standing on that blue line during the national anthem in Edmonton and staring at that wall that seamlessly never ended to the roof, it was incredible looking at that, going, imagine a playoff atmosphere in this rink, the white towels going, or the white shirts, people are wearing. Your heart must be just jumping out of your chest, because I was ready to go for the alumni game.
Yeah, man. It's well, to say that, we got lucky, I think, is a bit of an understatement. Like, because Shoresy, it really celebrates hockey culture, but it's a unifying experience for everybody. And when we're in that building, like I've said, I don't know if I've ever, and I'm including alumni games, where everybody cheers for both teams, right? Like, everybody is playing. And as we're playing, a lot of the players, the Sedins are coming over quoting hits from the show. It gives you a real, a warm feeling inside, if nothing else, right?
I literally did another podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned this. And they asked, how we felt about, certain things, and the newfound, I guess, stardom, if you want to call it. And I said, you know what? A lot of the guys are very humble about this whole experience, because it kind of just fell into all of our laps, and it's been nothing but a blessing for all of us. But to have these icons that we looked up to watching, hockey playoffs, now we're on the ice with these guys, They're asking for pictures with us. They're, telling us that their kids love your character on the show. Meanwhile, we're sitting there I'm going, this is Theo Fleury talking to me right now. I watched this guy carve guys' eyes out, score Stanley Cup winning goals, sliding on his knees, pumping his arms, just breaking sticks in the penalty box. Like, I loved Theo growing up. And now this gentleman taking the time out of his day to make this guy from Brampton, Ontario, little Brampton, Ontario, feel unbelievable, it's second to none. And speaking of Vancouver, when I ended up scoring a pretty nice goal there, like one of the Sedins came off the bench and was like, that move was sick. I'm going, are you for real right now? Like, are you just making fun of me? Like, was it really ugly? I don't know. But you know what? Every single alumni player, whether they're Hockey Hall of Famers or guys that played 150 games in the show, they all treated us the same. And that's what makes the trip just so enjoyable.
Speaking of Theo Fleury, he must have been one of your favorite players, was he? I mean, you play a lot like him, and he was, he could score. He was in your face. He liked to chirp. I'm guessing that he was on your radar as a kid.
100%. So a little quick backstory is that my dad would always say to me, son, you need to pick somebody to emulate that you can attain this possibly through hard work and so forth. Because I was a huge Mario Lemieux fan growing up. And my dad used to go, listen, son, there's only one Mario. You're never going to be Mario. Get it out of your head. You're a left-handed shot. He's right-handed. You're 5'0", he's 6'5". It's not happening. So you need to find somebody to emulate that is comparable. So Theo was definitely one of them. Dougie Gilmour was number 2. And as I got a little bit older, it was a Darcy Tucker type of guy. Yeah. And I know you and Darcy got a history, and that's what really kind of guided me into that rat role when I got to the Ontario Hockey League.
You know what? Side note, I'll tell you something about Tux. Tux, 2 years in a row in the Western League, came second. The second year that he came second in scoring, my line mate Damon Lankow beat him, and it was the last game of the season. Lanks had 5 points. Tux had 7 in Kamloops. We had different. They were going. So we were looking at, and Lanks ended up beating them by like 2 points, but Tux nearly did it. Now here's the thing: Tux always played with piss and vinegar. Always chirped. Always that same guy, but Tux didn't fight much in junior, and if he did fight, it was against lightweights. Now, I'm not putting him down when I say this. He'd go to me into penalties. He played pretty, we played pretty honest against each other. He knew, it was hard to get really under my skin. I don't know why. I didn't chirp a lot. I responded. But he was that player. He was a rat. He'd get at you. But then when we get up to Montreal and he realized he needed to put on a little weight, he worked his fucking nuts off. We were roommates, and he started to fight middleweights and then heavyweights. And he became Darcy Tucker that because in junior he could score almost at will. So he didn't always need to be chirping. He certainly never needed to be fighting. Yeah. But then in the show, and I can say changed his game, but he allowed the parts of his game, the tenacious parts and the parts that are going to help him succeed in the NHL, he allowed that to come to the surface. And he just basically adapted, and he adapted as well as anybody I've ever seen. It wasn't that he didn't have balls. It was just that if he fights you in junior, you're going to get him out for 5 minutes, and he's the best.
He didn't need to, because that's potentially 2 to 3 points for him if he's out for 5 minutes.
You're right.
So I understand it. I get it, and it's a fine line because coming out of minor hockey, a lot of us were, I guess on the higher end type of players.
Yeah, and definitely.
We moved into junior. You might have been able to carry that skill to a certain extent. Obviously, if you're an exceptionally skilled player, you kind of carried it through. But guys like myself, when I got to junior, I was jumping in a 3rd, 4th line role with, at the time, we were fighting for the best team in the CHL with the Erie Otters. So I wasn't taking spots from guys like Brad Boyes, Corey Pecker, Brandon Cullen was another guy we played with.
Corey Pecker. That's a nice snag. He was your leading scorer, wasn't he, back then?
Unbelievable. I'll tell you right now, TR.
I remember watching him.
So this guy had the worst body in junior hockey. I will
Did he?
tell you right now, worst body in junior hockey. And when you're younger, guys are pretty much hairless, but this guy had a body of Ron Burgundy chest hair, just 2 towels coming out of the shower, one around his waist, one around his neck. He was literally 15 to 20 years older than he really was. And
Yeah. Yeah.
he ended up breaking his arm that year. And he still ended up with 55 goals, I believe it was. But he missed a good chunk of the season. And it was one of those guys that just, if he got the puck, and we talked about this before with big Donnie McLean, if he got the puck at the top of the circles,
Johnny
you might
McLean.
as well just go to center ice because it was going in the net. It
Yeah.
didn't matter what he shot. He used a big paddle Lidstrom curve.
Yeah.
Could just fly in up and down the wing like a Phil Kessel. But needless to say, you weren't taking roles, spots from those guys. And it just so happened my first year, Brad Boyes got mono. Corey Pecker broke his arm at the same time. Coach brought me in and was like, Bones, we need you to jump up and play first line center. We're going into Kitchener. They got Derek Roy,
Yeah,
Steve
man.
Eminger, Peter Kanko, like a really good team. And he said, listen, I want you to shut down Derek Roy. Meanwhile, I'm a young kid. I know Derek's first round pick to the National League. And so we go into Kitchener Friday night. It was back-to-back Friday, Saturday. And I shut him down. We ended up winning. I got no points, but neither did he. So I feel I did my job. The next night in Erie, I shut him down again. I ended up scoring my first OHL hat trick. And off to the races from there, because then I showed the coaches and everybody in the organization I could play hockey. And a little bit of my minor hockey self took over, where I felt comfortable. I felt like I was one of the
Confident,
guys.
man.
And, from that point forward, the coaches knew if something happened, they could put me into that role. But otherwise, as soon as those guys came back, TR, I went back down the totem pole, back to the third, fourth line, and, became, that antagonistic rat.
Yeah.
And, I did fairly well in junior. And listen, you too, you played in a big man's game. You're not a huge guy either. You're 6'1" maybe.
You're right.
But you put, your courage ahead of everything else, and you didn't need to. Like, you scored goals, like you said, at will, like Tux did. I had to work for everything I possibly could gather in my hockey career, for sure. Just like yourself, but you were just more naturally talented.
Well,
if I got the opportunity.
At a young age, I was scouted to be a blue chip, and you get given a real little bit of leash there, coming in, making sure you get games at 15, at 16, putting you with the captain. That's why we're number 14, Todd Clausen, rest in peace. But I think that's part of it too. I know I played with enough guys just like yourself coming in, and you might be a little bit later of a bloomer than a guy like me, but you're going to get in there and you're going to play the same way. And speaking of that, when people don't realize, you're talking about your first year in Erie. Will you guys go on to win the Memorial Cup?
No, we lost. We lost. I was going to correct you on the intro. I like the intro, but we lost.
You lost too.
Yeah, we lost in the semifinals to Victoriaville. We went through the tournament. We lost the first game to Kootenay. I believe it was 2-0. And then they had Jared Stoll. I believe Dan Blackburn was in that. Nigel Dawes. Pretty good team. But I would honestly say we were probably the best team in the Canadian Hockey League at the time. And then we steamrolled everybody else through the round robin. We ended up facing this Victoriaville, who we beat 5-2 in the round robin in the semis. And we were winning by 2 goals twice with under 5 minutes left in the third period.
Imagine.
And a block shot. First of all, they scored with 3 seconds, I believe, left to tie us, to go to overtime. And a block shot in overtime led to a breakaway. And I'll never forget this guy's name, Pierre-Luc Schlager. I don't know if he ever went on to play any other hockey, but I'll never forget that name because he ended it for us. And I thought we had a real special team there, which we did. We had 2 first-round picks to the Leafs. Adam Monroe, unfortunately, wasn't playing, broke his hand, first-round pick to Chicago. And
Adam Monroe, the goalie?
Yep.
Who absolutely stood on his head in the Shoresy Classic games?
Yeah.
Oh, my fucking God. This guy in Toronto, that might be the best game that we played that year.
There's a reason why his nickname's Money. He was money for us all the time.
Money's money.
Yeah. And then, a couple tough years, rebuilding years, the next 2 years in the OHL.
But
And then I
wait,
found my last year in Ottawa.
Before we get to those years, you won the O then, did you?
Yes, we won the OHL my first year, yeah.
Now, who did you knock off? Would that have been Derek Roy? Like, there was a team that you guys knocked off that would have been rated right.
Funny enough,
you guys were here. There was another.
We could never beat the Plymouth Whalers. Okay. We could never beat them. Stephen Weiss, who else was there that would be like guys that you would kind of really, cling to? Oh, Campbell. Remember Campbell, Colin Campbell's son there?
Yeah.
I can't remember his first name right now. But anyways, we could never beat them. So the first round we play Sarnia. We handle them pretty easily. Then the second round, we ended up playing the London Knights because they took out Plymouth. And we could never beat Plymouth. So we beat London. Rick Nash is there.
Yeah.
Some Chris Kelly, really good players in that team as well. And then the conference final, we played Windsor, who had Steve Ott, Tim Gleason, Cam Jansen. They were a big bad team. I'll tell you that right now. They were no joke. We beat them and we go to the finals.
You beat them what though? You beat them what? 4-3? What?
We beat Windsor 4-1, I believe, or 4-2.
Okay.
We didn't really get tested too much except for the London series, who finished 8th place.
Weird.
And they knocked
Sometimes
off Plymouth
late though, right?
Yeah, and we end up scoring. So crazy story. We end up going into London in game, I want to say it's game 5. And it's the old ice house, and it is foggy as hell in there, TR. Like when I tell you, you cannot see blue line to blue line, you can't see it. So we go into this game, we end up going to overtime, and Brad Boyd scores an overtime goal that the referees wave off because they go, no goal, it didn't go in the net, but you couldn't really see anything. Every stoppage of play, we're all going on the ice circling, trying to get the fog moving. Needless to say, we had the video after he scored, but London scored to win after that. So we come to play in Erie, morning skate, I think it was the next night, and Boise comes in, and he was a very quiet leader, never said a word, just did everything, through his actions and how he played. And he comes in a morning skate, and no word of a lie, he looked at us and goes, I'm getting 3 tonight. And we're like, get the fuck out of here, boys. Shut the fuck up, getting 3. No word of a lie. He scored 4 that night, and we pumped him like fucking 7-1. It was
fucking right.
Incredible. So, after the game, he kind of just looked at you. And Boise, he always had this quiet chuckle, like a laugh, but it was a silent laugh. And we looked at him and we're like, hey, Messiah. And he is just doing his little chuckle, and guys would just die laughing. So we go to the finals against Barrie, and Carlo Koliakovo is a twin, and his brother's the goalie for the Barrie Colts.
I didn't know he played goal. I played against him in ball hockey. He plays out. Yeah, I didn't realize he was a goalie, or that he played like in the O. Wow.
Yeah, so he played in Barrie. I don't think he was the starter, but he played a couple games. We ended up beating them in overtime in game 5. I think it was game 5 in Erie. And that was it. And it was a rookie who scored the game winner in overtime. And back in the day, our owner was Sherry Basson, and he came in before overtime, and he literally threw $1,000 cash on the floor. He said,
God, hey, that's $1 million when you're in junior.
Oh, 100%. I'm getting $75. I'm getting $75 a week.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, fuck, I need this goal. I need this goal. And he threw it on the floor. And sure enough, a rookie underage, Sean Courtney, scored the game winner in overtime. And, one of the greatest experiences ever in Erie.
Yeah, man.
When I first got there, it was a NASCAR loving, Budweiser drinking, city that just didn't really know much about hockey. So gradually you see the attendance going up. By Christmas, there's 5,500, 6,000 every single night, and they are buckled in the stands. They want to see fights. They didn't really understand the game, but I tell you, they became so passionate. And when we came out for Game 5 in Erie, and they had the white towels going, it was ruckus in there. I tell you right now, it was a unbelievable experience you'll never forget ever. If you ever played in something like that, it is second to none.
And I bet you thrived. Growing up, listen, I just got to know this. I'm curious. You seem like an athletic guy. Did you play other sports, or was hockey your number? Like right from the beginning, like me, I played other sports, but where my dad played pro hockey, I think subconsciously I was always pursuing that. He never told me to. It wasn't. But I mean, we're in Canada first of all, so I mean, I'm a baseball player, but I'm going to be the best player, not the best in Newfoundland, but being on Newfoundland's best team puts you about 800th in North America. So that wasn't a possibility. But I gravitated towards it. What about you? Did you know right off the bat you wanted to
You
be
know what? It's funny because from a young boy, I didn't even like skating. I didn't even like skating. My dad's brother was a referee in the WWF back in the day,
Wow.
and I loved wrestling, and I wanted to be a wrestler. But like constantly, that's all I wanted to do. I'd go to these shows backstage. I'd meet all the wrestlers. I'd take pictures. And my dad would say to me, son, you're going to be a foot taller than a duck. You ain't going to be a wrestler. Figure it out type deal at a young age. So we go public skating, and I'd be in the baby end with all the pyloned off for the babies in one end. Him and my sister be whipping around, and I don't know if I got this is where I kind of started gathering my chirping, but every time my dad and sister used to come around where the baby area was, they'd chirp me about being a little, hey baby, how you doing in the baby area? They're just giving it to me. And then finally one day I said, fuck this, kick the pylon over and fucking chase these guys around the rink. And then after that, it was hockey, hockey, hockey. But that being said, summer, my grandfather was heavily into soccer. Being from Malta was kind of the only sport they had. And I played soccer to a point and dabbled in a little bit of baseball. But right before hitting in hockey, being a smaller guy, my dad said, you're playing lacrosse this summer. And he wanted me to get the shit beat out of me and understand what it's like to be hit, play with your head up, be aware of your surroundings. So, you know what? I went out. I ended up making the rep team. Our goalie was Rick Nash. He never played out. He played goalie.
Oh, that's
And
great.
yeah, I got the shit beat out of me probably all year because all these kids have been playing lacrosse for 3 years, 4 years ahead of me. But it was a 1 year, one and done. And then when I got around 12 years old, 13 years old, it was strictly hockey.
Well, you got a good sense. You have a good center of gravity. So I'm guessing even though you're a bit smaller, it was never really a problem. I could be wrong, but if you don't.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
you're totally right. And my uncle, who kind of filled in as my father passed away 6 days after my 13th birthday.
Sorry to hear that, buddy.
Yeah, it's all right. You know, it's life, but we never
Is.
know when your time's up. So you got to enjoy it while you're here. So he always used to tell me every time somebody's coming to hit you, make sure you leave your feet, explode, jump right into them like pretty much like a torpedo. So from a young age, I was always aware of my surroundings, and being smaller, I felt like I kind of had a bit of an advantage leverage wise when it came to hitting guys. And, it kind of translated to when I started to play in the Ontario Hockey League more than anything. And then when I got into pro, I was I was able to catch guys a little bit off guard that thought they were gonna put me in the snack bar.
If people don't play, they often assume the biggest players are the best hitters. Now it all comes down to me to that core and the center of gravity. I had to work on my skating for that. When I tell people I had to work on my skating, it wasn't all fast enough. I didn't feel it was that center of gravity getting down. Being labeled a power forward, you better know how to fucking hit, right? And I had to really, really work at that. Listen, I got to ask you, how was it to play for Brian Kilrea? Those listening to this, Brian Kilrea, as for 30 odd years, he's coached over 2,000 games. I think the most in Canadian Hockey League, definitely the most in the O, and he's in the Hockey Hall of Fame as a builder because of it. This guy is a legend. I'm sure that over all that time, he must have had disagreements with people. I'm not saying everybody loves him, but there must have been. What do you take from playing in Ottawa for Brian Kilrea?
You know what? I have to say he was the best coach for a bunch of misfits that we had there in Ottawa. And I say misfits because he put together a team that it kind of was like you were kind of labeled as a, I don't know, not a I don't want to say a problem, but like, people kind of giving up on you,
Yeah.
at certain point in time. So
A
when I
second
got
chance
there, he
too.
knew I had a bit of a temper. He knew that, I love to play on the edge. And I got traded there, and I walked in, and Killer walked up to me and he said to me, "You get a lot of 10-minute misconducts." I go, "Yeah, I lose my cool a little bit, and I always got something to say." And he looked at me and said, "Every referee in this league is afraid of me." And I said, "Okay." He goes, "You don't need to say one word. Let them." He goes, "Let me do the talking." And I've never had a coach
Yeah.
really stick up for me like that. And I haven't even stepped on the ice yet.
Mm.
So sure enough, I go get dressed for the first game, and the boys in the room knew me as a guy who, again, who's could put points up on the board, but I would do the dirty things behind the play or when referees weren't watching, and they were all, "Bones, what are you going to do? Who are you going to get? What's going to go on?" Like, they thought I was like a sideshow a little bit coming in
Yeah,
there, and I'm
yeah.
like, "Guys, like, I have a pretty good career going here statistically. I'm not just a rat." And it just so happened I went out for my first shift, and there's whistle blows, and as I'm coming off the ice, the Plymouth Whaler guy's coming on the ice, and he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Bonello, you fucking suitcase collecting another tracksuit." And I speared him right in front of our bench, like immediately. First shift, speared him right in the gut, not even trying to hide it. 4 minutes, first shift, 4 minutes, put it in the box. Not only do I go in the box, I don't know what they put on the big screen, because Ottawa was one of the only teams at that time. I played the old Ottawa Civic Center
Yeah, I love it.
that had a big screen. So I think it said Brad Bonello just recorded his 400th career penalty minute, and the fans are going crazy and they're like cheering. And I look over, and Brian Kilray, 72 years old, is standing on the dasher board in front of the bench, like where the players would
Yeah,
lean
yeah.
on. He's standing there, and I'm sitting, and he's giving it to the ref, and I mean giving it. He told me he hadn't been kicked out of a game for years. He got kicked out right then and there. First shift I played, and left the fucking thing. And I'm sitting in the box going, "Oh my God." First of all, I don't want him to fall. He'll fucking die if he falls off there. Number one.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Number
thinking.
two, I'm going, "Oh fuck, this guy's gonna hate me again." But I come off after the first period, and people that don't know Brian Kilray is he'd have a cigar in his mouth and a cold Molson Export in his hand, and he walked into our room and he looked at me and he goes, "Told you I got you." And I go, from that point forward, I had the best year I could possibly have in junior hockey, because it was a coach that I felt had my back no matter what. He treated us like men. He would always say to us, "Hey, man, go out till 7 in the morning. I don't care. But come 7 at night, you better be ready to play or I'll send you to the Sioux." And I swear to you, every guy on the team, with the accountability that we took, we went from a sixth place in our conference that year, built on a bunch of misfits that I call them, and we were in the Memorial Cup. And
Yeah, man.
we knocked off some teams that were, Barrie was unreal. Peterborough was first place. They were the touted team. We swept them in the conference final, 4-0. When guys walk into the rink, and back then you knew it, you walk in shirt and tie. Brian Kilray didn't give a shit. You could come in with cowboy boots, ripped jeans, cut off t-shirts. He didn't give one fuck about
Which
what
is
you look
interesting
like.
because he's old school. And
He
and
did
still
not
he
care.
still didn't matter. You guys just come ready to fucking play.
That's right. You come fucking ready to play. Don't worry. I don't care what you look like off the ice. I want to see what you look like on the ice. And funny enough is that a quick story in for the people that have watched season 5 of Shoresy, when Shoresy and I kind of get into it in the dressing room about not touching the goalie. Um, I believe that it was stemmed from a story that I told Jared in season 3 that actually was Brian Kilray and I going at it on the bench. And I told Brian, "I'm just going to run the goalie and get out of this game, because if I'm that bad out here, I don't want to listen to you. I'm going to just run this goalie. There's going to be a 5-man brawl, and I'm fucking kicked out of this game." And he'd be screaming at, "No, no, you fucking better not." and there's guys on my team. My lineman was Brian Bickle, 3-time Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, great player.
Mark Mancarey had a cup of coffee in the
great
NHL.
Player.
Great player.
Yeah.
He was my right winger. Now these two guys are 6'3" each. I'm 5'10" on a good day. Yeah. I could do whatever I wanted, but then I'm on the bench, and Brad Staubich hears me say to Killer, Brad Staubich is a killer in himself.
Yeah.
He hears me say, I'm running the goalie. And Stabby looks down the bench and he goes, Bones, for real? I go, yup. And Killer is going nuts. Don't I get out next shift? I take a puck in the neutral zone. I drive the D wide with zero effort of trying to make a hockey play. I drove the D wide, drove the net, and just ran over the goalie. And as soon as I hit him, my gloves are off in the air like this. I look around, Staubich, gloves off, Bickle, gloves off, everybody's gloves off, and we are just fucking tuning these guys from Belleville. We're fucking giving it to every one of them. And we get into the box, and Stabby looks over at me, Bickle, Manker, we're all in the box. And Stabby looks over at me and goes, Bones, you weren't fucking kidding, were you? I go, fuck, bud. We're so bad tonight. This is the best way we could fucking get out of this game right now. And you know what the worst part was? I was the first fight, so I didn't get kicked out. Everybody else got kicked out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the way it works. For a lot of people hearing this, it must sound barbaric, but that's just it. Sly Silvestri would do that, but so would Brad Bonello, and so would a lot of, I mean, it takes balls to do it. Not everybody would do it, but that happens in hockey. Sometimes it's like, you know what? Shit's not going right. Fuck this. I'd rather win the war than win the battle. So fuck this. Let's just come in. We're probably going to lose this game, but I'll run the goalie. We'll all get kicked out, and eventually something will happen. But that's funny that you end up getting kicked out. Side note, I just got to know, as a Newfoundlander, was Josh Manning there? Didn't you play with Josh Manning in Wellington?
So funny.
He ended up in Belleville, and I'm wondering if you played against him there.
Josh Manning and I played together with the Wellington Dukes. The year before I went to the OHL, I had to play a year in Tier 2 Junior A in Canada.
Yeah, and he left here.
The first 2 round picks can only be underagers in the OHL at the time. So Manning was with me in Wellington, and then I ended up playing against him in Oshawa. He was in Oshawa.
Speaking of, that's wild. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him in a long time, but you know, when you're from a place this small, you know when people go away and are successful. And he went on and he got his degree. I can't remember in what, but 4 or 5 years in the CIS. Dalhousie.
I will tell you this. He was surprised. Listen, all you Newfoundlanders are tough. I don't give a shit who it is. I play against you guys now in Senior A and in the Allen Cups that I've been to. And you can't sit back and go, I'm going to pick on this guy or pick on that guy, because they all can fucking fight you, and they don't care who you are, what you've done. They won't even read a fucking stats pack. They go and learn on their fucking toes at that moment. And you know what? That's half the battle, is just getting in there. And Manning would do it, and he was surprisingly tough, man.
He definitely had he had a point where he didn't want to take fucking shit anymore, you know. And he I never thought of Josh. I watched a lot of these guys coming out. I mean, he's a few years younger than me, but within that realm. And but I you know, he never went out and looked for it. But at least in my point of view, I saw him playing. It
always found him because of the way he played.
Fucking right.
He played like a.
He's going to piss people off by his game, right?
He plays like, if people watch the Toronto Maple Leafs, I see that Benoit and D, who just takes runs at guys, plays hard, does those kind of things. That was Josh Manning. That's an absolutely great comparison, buddy. And I got one more thing then before I move on, because I really want to know. I want to know the exact story of how you became Sly. We all have a similar one, but I don't know your exact story. But I have another friend that you played with, and this is a good friend of mine. We've played ball hockey for years. I've known him since the 90s when he was just a kid, a few years younger than me, but always been a great friend, and that's Mark Tobin. Tobe says, ask Bones about our old coach, Rick Adunno, and what it was like to have Kip Brennan on our team. Also, give him my contact if you don't mind. I haven't talked to him in a while. That's Mark Tobin, who played with Sidney Crosby and Rimouski. So was a second-round pick to Boston, and I believe got sent out to Long Beach to play with you. Am I wrong? That's right. That's exactly right. So Tobes, man, he was a heck of a hockey player as well, and I met him. Well, I didn't meet him, but I played against him in my final Memorial Cup because we ended up playing against Rimouski,
Yes.
who had him, Crosby, excuse me, and another fella who was extremely tough, who was Sid's police officer, Eric Nielsen.
Yes. Fuck, I remember that guy.
Neely was a fucking weapon himself. But Obes, just again, a big, strong, power forward that could find the net. He could play the game of hockey. And, you know, you, like you said, you want to build that prototypical type of power forward. He had that body, you know, structure. He had the ability. When he wanted to protect the puck, you weren't getting it off him because he was just so big and strong. And, you know, as for our coach, Ricky there, Tricky Ricky, we used to always call him. You know, he was an old school guy that just kind of, you know, I didn't think he was going to last the whole year with us because we weren't very good, even though we had some good players. And he used to ride us all the time, no matter who it was. You know, we're playing pro hockey in the East Coast Hockey League in Long Beach, California. You know, at that time, you still think you're a king, you know, playing in the sunshine.
Hey,
you know,
it's great. It's a great setup for being the Miners.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You're a half hour outside of LA. You're right there. You got Hermosa.
Yeah,
Beach,
like Huntington
Manhattan
Beach right
Beach.
there.
Yeah.
And the thing was, like, we'd show up in flip-flops and shorts and stuff. And Ricky, he used to try to treat, like, he used to give it to us to keep us on a narrow path, like we were playing in Toledo, Ohio. Like, we were like, bud, we're in, you know, California. Like, we're 45 minutes to an hour from LA. Like, this is no joke for us, right?
Did you drink
anyway,
at the Yard House across the street?
But you know, Kip Brennan, we ended up being roommates on the road. And he got sent down from LA straight to Long Beach. Usually you stop in the American League. I don't know what happened there, but he ended up coming straight down to Long Beach. And I remember a game we were in Phoenix, and he goes, and Phoenix was all over him, and they were chirping him, saying, "Hey, long way down from LA, hey, Kip, long way down." And he says, "Bones, watch this." And we were on the ice together. There's a center ice face-off. He's playing the wing where his back is to their bench at the center ice. Think of this. I win the puck back. I just keep my eyes on him. I don't even look at the D where the puck's going. He skates around the circle like he's doing a crossover drill. Around the circle the whole way. So now he's facing Phoenix's bench, and he Superman dives into their bench. And TR, the whole bench condensed like a fucking accordion to the backside because they were like, the poor three guys that were in the front of that he was were just eating fists the whole time. Not one guy they weren't even trying to swing their sticks. Guys were trying to get into the fucking concession lines. They're like, I'm out of here. I'm out of this place.
That's so funny. I didn't realize Kip Brennan went straight down to the coast from him. Makes sense probably in his contract. Fuck it. I'd rather go to Long Beach.
He gets 10 games.
10 games for that.
10 games.
Well, I can see it though. Fuck, you jump in the bench.
Comes back out. We're playing in Texas. Comes back. He stands in front of their bench. And Texas had a coach. Can't remember his name right now. And he was notoriously a tough guy, if you want to call it. And he turns around in front of their bench and says, hey, coach, put your toughest guy on the ice. And the coach is like, what? Nobody ever talked to me like that. He said, put your toughest guy on the ice. They taps this young kid. His name is Riley Emerson. He's about 6'7", and he's a young guy at the time. He was probably around 22. And he jumps on the ice, and Kip beats the wheels off this poor kid so bad. And he literally calmly puts him down on the ice, 6'7", down to fucking 4'2" quickly. As he puts him down on the ice, he turns back to the bench and goes, send the next guy. And this coach didn't know what to fucking do because that was it. After that game, Kip Brennan called up the Hershey Bears and never saw him again.
11 games played, 74 minutes with you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, did you go to a bar across the street called the Yard House? Was that still there?
Yes.
Okay, so that I used to hang out there a lot. I played one game for Long Beach, but I'm talking when I went in there with Idaho.
Did you play with the Blue Ice? They
No,
had blue ice. They had blue ice at one point.
no, I did not know that. I had
Fuck.
we had some weird things. I was in the West Coast Hockey League. Now it all ended up being the East Coast League or the ECHL, but those Anchorage, Long Beach,
Yeah.
Fresno, Phoenix, they were all Colorado, Boise. They were all in the West Coast
Bakersfield.
League.
Yeah.
And there was some things they tried, blue goalposts. The referees had these weird jerseys. They were talking about the blue ice, but then it must have come in after I left. It's
It
a
was
novelty
fucking,
league, but it was a fun league to play in.
yeah. They had to
Um,
listen. They had to do things for the fans to try to get them out there. Because again, who's going to watch hockey in Southern California? You know, when you can go do a lot of other things.
and you
And
can go to NHL games. There's 3 teams within a stone's throw. Like,
Yeah.
you know, fuck. I mean,
yeah,
that's an exaggeration, but you got Anaheim and you got LA and you got San Jose all in the state.
yeah, they're
So,
right there.
you know, if you're going to go to a game, I find you get your real hockey fans, either transplanted Canadians, real hockey fans, or like there was a section, there was a large group of people that kind of grew up with the Ice Dogs and they didn't even want to go to a Kings game. They just went to Ice Dogs games. And then, you know, you build off of that. But now tell us finally, because we've talked about becoming into the Shoresy Classic and you and I on the bus, and we have chats about music and movies and everything else. But I really don't know. I know Cam Fergus is a friend of mine and a stunt guy, and I think he asked you, but why don't you tell us how you became Sly Silvestri?
So yeah, so like most of us, we, you know, this kind of fell in our lap, and I got an email, like all of us, you know, like the heading was Shoresy 3. I literally thought it was spam, like everybody says it's spam, like you never heard, you know, from these people and so forth. And
Well,
I
you're
opened
not
it
an
up and I said,
actor.
hey,
How would you, now you are, but you weren't an actor. I would, you know, I was a little different for me, but I won't get into that. But I can totally see how you would have passed it off as, what the fuck is this?
yeah, you know, so I got the email and I looked at it, I opened it up, said you came highly recommended for this part. Would you be willing to do a self-tape for this role? And I, you know, I'm being a bit of a dick. I kind of just wrote yup and sent it back because again, I didn't think it was real. And
Yeah.
within like 30 minutes or whatever, 40 minutes, I got it. I got another email. It was the script. It was the read. And I go, holy fuck, this is for real. So um, I ended up doing the self read and self tape. And the first time I sent it in, again, being European, we talk with our hands, extravagant, like fucking boisterous.
Oh God,
And
Italians, Jesus Christ, all you guys, you talk with your hands more than Newfoundlanders do.
so I sent it in. They sent back, hey, can you just be a little bit more still, straight, stoic? And we laugh about this. Jared and I
Stoic.
laughed about this. Jared and I laughed about this probably about 2 weeks ago. I literally said, I don't know what the fuck stoic is. I'm an OHL hockey player. I don't got an education. So I had to look up stoic actors. And,
Did you?
and
Wait, don't tell me. Okay, before you go any further, I know. So Stoicism goes back like 2,000 years to the Greek and Roman philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, what it means is like to be emotionally unwavered, like don't get too high, don't get too low. I never really thought of it as an actor having that personality. I'm really wondering who you're going to tell me is a stoic actor. I mean, I get where it's saying, but I look at it more as a philosophy. So what is it, being really
so
still?
I look it up. And the fucking first one I see is Clint Eastwood. I go, are you fucking kidding me? I go,
God.
but I ain't no fucking Clint Eastwood. I can tell you that right now. And then, you know,
What?
Jason Statham.
That's a high
I'm like,
bar to set, Clint Eastwood.
yeah, I'm like, Jason Statham. And then Jared gave me fucking shit. Liam Neeson, another one. I'm like, you got to be fucking shitting me right now. You're talking to a guy with zero acting fucking ability at all, and you want me to be like these guys?
Do your best Daniel Day-Lewis for us, please.
So I sit there and I just do it very fucking still, boring, send it back, and a couple days later, I get, yep, he loves you, you're in. I'm like, holy fuck. So I call Cam, like you just mentioned, Cam Fergus. We play senior hockey together, stunt coordinator on the show. And I go, Cam, I'm on Shoresy. He goes, I know. I go, what the fuck do you mean you know? He goes, well, I kind of the one who recommended you to them. I go, and you didn't want to fucking tell me? Give me a heads up so I can practice or whatever. He goes, no, I didn't. You know, the industry, you never know if you're going to get a call, not get a
Didn't want to
call.
disappoint you.
That's
Right?
right. And
Yeah, that's
now he
yeah.
wants 10% every time he fucking sees me.
That's funny. That is fucking funny. Not only that, it's one of the most unique stories. I mean, it's similar. At first it was a bit surreal to me, but I was working on a film set and I was telling a story that everybody knew how I lost my tooth. I'm in the union. I think I would have been. I never actually gotten the answer, but I think I probably would have had more chance to be on the radar because I was in the film industry and I'm in ACTRA. Now, I wasn't announcing that in Ontario. I didn't have an agent or anything. But from my perspective, it was a little less. I mean, I love Letterkenny. When he would have said Stoic, I know now, because one of the first things, I'm rambling, but when we got there, one of our first scenes was in the apartment. And I found it really hard to do that, but I knew what he was talking about because and Wayne on Letterkenny, and there's a few instances in his work, but it's like I know it does not feel natural for me.
No.
I need to be like kind of all over the place, and you just got to get used to it. I guess.
Like Schnur and myself, Neil Clark, we did a scene together in the strip joint at the bar, and I go and lean on the bar. And I'm like trying to keep my hands still while I'm talking to him. And I'm like, this is so unnatural for me. Because if I'm in the bar, I'm probably fucking patting you on the back. I'm probably, but when Jared wants to do it a certain way and we do it for him. And I always like, listen, let's be honest. Like I'm not a veteran in this industry. So I ask a lot of questions. Like, do you like that? Is it right? Is it good?
It's good
Like,
to do that.
You want to make sure that you're doing right by the people that want you to succeed, because then in the end of the day, the show succeeds. So, every time I do it, I feel so unnatural, but they say that you nailed it. So you feel good about yourself. Another one was with Laura Moore in the stands when I'm getting interviewed in season 3. They wanted me to keep my head straight, not look at her while she's talking to me, be that arrogant, ignorant asshole. Like, I'm wasting my time with you, lady. Don't talk to me. And the whole time I wanted to look at her while I'm having this interview. And it's difficult, man.
Was season 3 would have been your first kick at it, right? You weren't in 2, it was 3. So
season 3 was my first ever acting experience.
I bet you. So for me, it felt unnatural too, but when I saw season 1, then I knew exactly. So I bet after you saw yourself with Laura Moore and after they were asking you, now you had a better idea of what Stoic probably was expected what Stoic meant, even though you looked it up, and what they were saying. For me, I just had an image now. I knew how it looked. So when Jared or whoever it might be, one of the Skeens, would mention that, then I kind of knew. But I know what you mean, man. It's the show we do, and when you watch it, it's got that style, and it wouldn't look good if we were like all over the place and nobody else was.
Yeah, no, for sure. Natural. And like, let's be honest, like I did season 3, coming back for season 5, a little bit bigger role, a little bit bigger part, more talking. I felt extremely comfortable just in the second season of doing it. But again, it has to do with the people you're surrounded with too. Like, you guys just, first of all, the 5-6 main guys that have been there from the start, you're accepting us newer guys in to help out with the show. And you guys all kind of just make it so easy for us to basically learn from you guys right there as we're doing it. And when you see it, and we know how successful yourself has been, Michael's has been, the gym's even, you just see what works and you just kind of copy it.
Yeah, and we're all brothers. It's all a hockey fraternity, even though we all didn't play together. When you're telling me these stories, I know I played in Tri-Cities, which is similar to Erie. People would cheer for offsides at first. I was there in year 4, so it was just kind of getting on the go. Traveling around, playing in Long Beach. I had a similar situation in Boise, as did all the guys on the show. So I find that it's easy to just sit down and start talking because there's so many common denominators in not only people that we meet, but things that we do in dressing rooms that we've shared just at a different time and space, but we shared the same dressing room. And therefore, we have a lot of the same friends, right? You remember Brad Boys was here. I was the color guy the first year. Him and Carla were here in St. John's.
Yeah.
So it's a very small world that way.
Absolutely.
Now I got to move on soon, but I want to do some rapid fire randoms before we get out of here. Once again, I got to take my daughter Penny Lane to soccer before I'm off to Nunavut, Iqaluit tomorrow for a fundraiser. But I'll talk about that on an episode coming up next week. But are you ready for it, my friend? BB
Yes,
Bonello, Bones Bonello, rapid fire randoms. Here we go. Death row, my friend. You've murdered somebody in Texas, and now you are going to die. One of those old fucking players that you didn't like playing against challenged you in a bar, and you know what? You broke off a bottle. You defended yourself, but you know what? You sliced them right across the neck, and now you're going to die. What do you pick? It's your last death row meal. Your last meal, you're on death row.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think for myself, I would definitely have to go with it's funny because we eat there a lot. I'd have to get myself a nice keg steak with all the fixings on the side, as well as my mushroom Neptune to start. I get the Billy Miner pie to finish it off with a cold beer.
That's a great answer, my friend. If you had one superpower you were given, you found a magic genie in a bottle, and the genie comes out, and instead of a magic carpet says, BB Bones Bonello, I'm going to give you the opportunity to pick a superpower. Which one are you going to take?
Definitely has to be self-healing. Self-healing like Wolverine, Deadpool, those kind of guys.
That's a great answer and gives you some longevity there too.
Yeah.
That's I think that's a unique one. I can't speak for every single person. My memory will fail me, but I don't think anybody's ever said that. And I ask that question almost every time. Your favorite car that you've ever driven?
Oof. Favorite car I've ever driven would have to probably be my Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT. A little bit of power, speed. It's got some beef to it. So I have to go with that one.
What goes on your perfect pizza?
My perfect pizza would have to be pepperoni, cheese, some hot peppers, some green olives, and a little bit of spinach.
Your favorite jersey ever outside of hockey?
Oh,
not that you've worn, just, maybe you're a...
To have or want to collect?
That's a great question. We're going to go with collect because you brought it up. I was asking,
if it would have to be collect,
let's say collect.
If it would have to be collect and I could get it autographed, put it in a frame, I would have to go with Bo Jackson, his Raiders jersey. I think that man right there, his story, if you never watched it on that, I think it's E60 or 30 for 30. It's a tremendous story, and he's such an athlete and a gentleman.
Yeah, and sadly, now as we forge into the future, with all these social media outlets and all these sports shows, but amazingly, he's getting forgotten. I don't know how. The guy was not only a two-sport athlete, an all-star in both, and just injuries.
Potentially could have been a Hall of Famer in both. Which has never been done.
No, and I think unless something crazy happened outside of those injuries, I think he would have been. He was on track to be it. He's one of the best.
He was a mutant. He was a superhuman.
If people don't know, it's worth your while. If you've listened to this whole podcast and you've learned nothing, I doubt that. But if that's the case, and we just said Bo Jackson and you don't know who we're talking about, go look at that show and thank us later, and you'll be informed I'm one of the best athletes of his generation.
And it may not be a jersey though, TR, but if it counts as one, it'd be a Hulk Hogan tank top that he wore, signed by him as well.
Yeah, of course it does. That's what anything, wear. I guess. I got to reframe some of these questions. Yeah, because if I say jersey, it kind of rules out wrestling. Yeah, I guess you could say memento. Can you play an instrument?
I can't play an instrument. Nope.
Favorite coach that you've had?
Favorite coach would probably have to be Brian Kilray.
You're heading out. You and I are going on a fundraiser. We're going to walk across Canada. It's a long way to go, right? It's just you and I. We're going to do our thing. We get to take one person with us. Could be an athlete, could be a celebrity, could be a man, could be a woman. The only thing, they can't be dead. It has to be someone living today Who would you want to take along with us?
Oh, on the road, eh? Oof, that's a tough
Road
one.
trip. We got a nice bus that's going to take us. But basically, we're going to be 3 of us. We're walking, but for there's going to be times that, if we have to stay in a hotel or whatever, it's going to be in this, what do you call them? The big Winnebagos.
Motorhome kind of thing. You know
Yeah.
what? Again, I'm a wrestling fanatic. I really enjoy the sports, and I'm intrigued by a lot of their documentaries, and just for the story purposes alone, and a few cold beverages that I'm sure we would consume when we have some downtime after walking. I'd love to sit there, and we probably could listen to him the whole walk across Canada. Would be Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, I tell you, we would never be stuck for a boring moment. I tell you that, or stuck with a boring moment. What I said was the opposite of what I meant. Anyway, you get the idea. Okay, now same situation. Next year, that tour went so well, that cross-country extravaganza went so well that now you get to do it, but this time on your own. Now, you can have music, but you only get to pick 3 bands. Which bands? You can pick any albums from those bands, but which, band/artist, any genre, anything. Who would you want to take along? 3 music bands or artists.
You know what? I'm not a music connoisseur like yourself. I do dabble in it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
After just watching,
watching
the last documentary that I just watched, and I was super emotional, and I have a newfound respect for him. Ozzy would be one.
Nice.
Anything to do with Ozzy. Newer day and age, just because I kind of grew up with it, would be an Eminem.
Yeah.
As well. The third one, be honest with you, now he's a hot topic right now. I'd probably add in Jelly Roll just to touch on every genre.
That's not bad. That's a very it's 3 artists that I like and appreciate and are all a little bit different. I think with that, I could just pick 3 bands, but if they were the same genre, I think you'd get sick of it.
Yeah.
And that would, I think, maximize the potential of enjoying that the music for that particular trip. Good answers. Same thing. You're on that trip, okay? So let's just say you can take 2 TV shows and 2 movies to watch at night, right? But you can repeat them, but that's it. Two movies, 2 TV shows.
2 TV shows. Maybe this is going to make me sound like a bit of a nerd. I enjoy Family Guy. So Family Guy would be one.
Guy, and that's a great answer. I picked that because I wouldn't run out. You could go across the world, but hundreds and hundreds of episodes, and it's pretty good.
The second TV show would be Tulsa King, because I'm a huge Sylvester Stallone fan.
Watch that. Yeah. I can't believe it in this either. He's it's just like the guy keeps getting younger. I watched that on the plane and I was like, holy fuck, another show.
He's definitely got the trick to the Fountain of Youth serum, that's for sure.
Fountain of Youth, man. And he's still relevant, and he's kept that level of, I don't want to say cheesy, but there's 2% out of the 100 that he's in on the joke, and he knows that he's always going to be, Sly Stallone, and I forget what his name is in here.
And then listen, that's why this part for Sly Sylvester for me, because I love Sylvester Stallone. I was like, my name's Sly now, bud. This is great.
That's fucking great. But, okay, and 2 movies.
2 movies. I gotta go with a classic because it's one of my favorite of all time. Is Major League. Major League would be one. And if I gotta go with something along the lines of maybe it's a tough one. I never even thought of this. Like,
so many good ones.
Again, Sylvester Stallone. I love all the Rockies. I love all the Rambos. I would have to go with Rocky 1.
Rocky 1 is fucking unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
It still is unreal. It still holds up, and I think it could be. Thought about it the other day because
it's just the underdog story. It's the whole story. I showed a buddy
who hadn't seen it, and it's the underdog story. And it was, for those that don't know, it was a metaphor for his life at the time. He drove out to Hollywood, and someone, whoever it was, studios, wanted to buy the script off him, but he said, no, I'm going to be the main actor. Or I think they wanted.
Yeah,
Paul
they wanted
Newman or
somebody else.
someone.
That was in his documentary.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It was something. So there's a lot to respect there, and it's just a great movie. You watch it now. I mean, it's movie of the year. People forget that. They see it as this continuing saga of like
The
lighthearted.
guy had to sell his
It's not that at
dog.
all.
He had to sell his dog to get some money to make the film.
Yeah,
I believe they only had a budget of like $1 million, something very
something
small.
like that. Then within a couple of years, he's the biggest star in the world. You are going to be, for some hypothetical world, you can't do what you're doing anymore. There's no acting, there's no hockey playing, there's no coaching, there's nothing. But you are now a DJ. What's your name going to be? You got 4 choices: DJ Bones, BB Boneyard, Bonehead, or MC Jizz. You got to pick one.
I would hold on, what was the first one?
DJ Bones.
Yeah.
The second one was just Bonehead.
Yeah.
The third was BB Boneyard. And the fourth was MC Jizz.
Yeah, BB's Boneyard, baby.
BB Boneyard. I like it. Finally. Geez, I'm 1 minute over. Coming! Your favorite athlete ever outside of hockey and wrestling. And not Bo Jackson. Geez, I already asked you that.
You know what? It's so hard. It's hard to pick. But let's be honest, and you can't overlook what this guy's done in the sport. He's done for sport in general. Tiger Woods is he's iconic. Like what he did at such a young age, how he dominated that sport. I call it the game. You know, golf is a game that can never be beaten. That guy came close.
That's a fantastic answer, BB Boneyard, Brad Bone Spinello. Thank you very much for this. Do you have anything to plug or anything to add before we take off?
Oh, listen, I'd be silly not to plug our show. You know, Shoresy season 5. Keep an eye out for Shoresy season 6. If you can, it's for a good cause. Is to attend one of these alumni classic games against the Shoresy team, because it's such a tremendous experience, but an event as well. But no, that's about it, buddy. I really appreciate you having me, and this was a lot of fun.
Hey, what are you on? What's your Instagram handle?
BB Varsity Hockey.
Okay, so for those listening that are intrigued by Brad and I having this conversation in maybe a few months, but I'm going to make a little announcement. We might do a side project, so follow him there at that's your Instagram handle. It's BB.
That's something. My business Instagram is BB Varsity Hockey, and my personal Instagram is BBH28.
Okay, that's it. And everybody knows where to find me, of course. And I tell you where you can find a beer or water or coffee or whatever floats your boat on George Street. And that would be Trinity Pub, TJ's Pub, Rob Roy Confusion, the Martini Bar, Green Sleeves, and of course the Bull and Barrel. 2 places I love to go to eat and drink, not far from George Street. Grotto and Cojones, bring it on. I absolutely love both. As do I. If I'm going to go for a bite to eat, I'll throw in Loose Tie, Blue on Water, and Wedgwood Cafe, who also do catering. If I'm going to work out, I look no further than Rope Walk Lane, Ryan Power, strength and balance for the body and mind. If I'm going to Mr. Lube, there's 2 locations in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. One's on Kemart Road, one's on Torbay Road. Live, laugh, low. GS Construction out in Edmonton, laying the groundwork for your community. Crown Cabinets. Check out Crown Cabinets just because. Great crowns, great cabinets, whatever the fuck. I can't remember the tagline. Creative Closets and Doors. Small storage, beautiful spaces. Check out Creative Closets and Doors. And of course, True Hockey. Take what's yours. Thanks to everybody at True. And thanks to everybody at BetMGM. If you're going to gamble, always mull it over. Always gamble responsibly. Be back soon with more Tales with TR. Thanks for listening.